Nigeria assures international community of free, credible elections. Nigerian Senate in rowdy session over Buhari's remark on insecurity. Government makes clarifications on whereabouts of recovered loot. U.S. Army trains Nigerian troops on confronting Boko Haram. And in sports, Nigeria moves up 5 spots on FIFA ranking. These and more stories in a moment. Welcome to the AM News on Television Nigeria, and I am Nten Epang. Ahead of the 2019 general elections, Nigerian government has expressed its readiness to employ all in its powers to ensure the conduct of free, fair and credible polls. Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, said the country was mindful of the implications of a flawed election on its reputation and is willing to ensure that elections were held in a manner that will not require the intervention of foreign agencies like the International Criminal Court, ICC. Speaking in Abuja while playing host to the visiting president of the International Criminal Court, Professor Chile Ebue Osuji, Malami expressed Nigeria's concern over the ICC's decision to continue to entertain 8 cases relating to it in connection with its handling of the problems of terrorism in the country. The Attorney General assured that the country will prevail on other countries that have withdrawn their memberships of the court or threatening to do so to reconsider their position. The Nigerian Senate had a rowdy session on Thursday following arguments about President Muhammadu Buhari's comment on insecurity and the herdsmen attacks in the country in his current visit to England.
These people who are doing these killings in Nigeria are invaders from outside of Nigeria. And if he says that they are invaders from outside of Nigeria, what it means is that it now validates my last point on this floor. When a commander-in-chief says that he cannot take care of invaders invading Nigeria, why is he still a commander-in-chief? Why do we still continue to indulge? Why do we still continue to indulge this president that everywhere goes along to tell everybody outside this country that he is totally incompetent? The issue is that you cannot even raise any issue regarding the conduct of the president by motion. The president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is the leader of this country and deserves the respect and courtesy of this chamber and those of us in it. Mr. President, I was once there as an opposition senator. There was never a time that we called the president at that time, who was a PDP president, an insult, because this is our institution. And if we don't conduct ourselves with dignity and respect, nobody will respect us. So I want to urge my colleague there to immediately withdraw his statement and apologize. Hold on, and apologize to this chamber.
Senator Barbe, I think we need to be guided on the language and the quorum that we use. With all due respect, we can make our points without using words that truly are offensive and not acceptable. So before you rule, he has made a point, and I think you are an elder statesman, and I want you to be guided accordingly before I now rule on it.
The federal government of Nigeria has made clarification on the controversy surrounding the whereabouts of monies recovered from former political office holders and past leaders, insisting that they were being paid into dedicated accounts with the Central Bank of Nigeria. There has been conflicting figures on the actual amount so far recovered, as given by the acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Mr. Ibrahim Magu, and the Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, which gave rise to suspicions about the whereabouts of the funds. Mago had announced a sum of 739 billion naira as the amount recovered in the first 2 years of his stewardship, while Adeosun said records available to the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation had only 91.4 billion naira as amounts recovered since 2015. She consequently requested the FCC to clarify where the cash recoveries were deposited with documentary evidence. However, Special Assistant to the President on Justice Reform, Mrs. Juliet Iber-Kaku, speaking at the press conference in Abuja, said all stolen public funds recovered so far were paid into special asset recovery accounts with the CBN, which in turn transfers such funds into the Federation account from where they have been utilized to fund the budget since 2017. And still on the news, United States Army trains Nigerian troops on counterinsurgency operations. More news stories after the break. Don't go away.
Nigerians have tested political parties, religion and age. It is time to get a bridge builder to heal the wounds. Hassan Dan Kwambo. Under your watch as Executive Governor of Gombe State, you have been able to manage the state's resources in view of the numerous projects so far completed and the low statutory federal allocations accruable to the state. With your landmark achievements in healthcare, youth employment, women empowerment, road infrastructure, pipe-borne water, security, education and agricultural development, we are sure of a better Nigeria. 2019 is not about power or change, but rather it is about Dan Kwambo to replicate his humility and servant leadership. Dan Kwambo, Nigeria. Nigeria, Dan Kwambo.
For almost a decade, the Nigerian army have given their all to ensure that our dear country is not overrun by Boko Haram insurgents. Some have in the process paid the ultimate price, while many will forever live with indelible scars occasioned by their determination to protect the country, no matter the hurdle. Despite these, they have remained resolute and undaunted, and today, all territories the insurgents once took control of have been recaptured and normalcy restored. And now, for the first time in a long time, the end of Boko Haram is foreseeable. Therefore, the wisest thing for the remaining insurgents to do is to surrender today or face total destruction from the army. Remember, the Nigerian army will stop at nothing to ensure that total peace is restored in all parts of the country. So, be wise and embrace peace today or get ready to be ruthlessly dealt with. This message is brought to you by the Coalition on Conflict Resolution and Human Rights in Nigeria. Welcome to Living Treasures Academy. Enjoy a conducive and serene learning environment. Qualified and experienced teachers. Equipped computer laboratory and library. Secured atmosphere. Extracurricular activities. An all-embracing curriculum for total development of the child. Comprehensive education for leadership. Join us today from crèche to secondary levels. Living Treasures Academy, committed to excellence. Welcome back. You're still watching the AM News on Television Nigerian. And more on the news now, Nigerian soldiers have received some counter-insurgency training from a dozen United States soldiers on a 6-week advise and assist mission in Jaji, Kaduna State. The United States Department of Defense said Nigerian Army's 26th Infantry Battalion might be the next to deploy to Northeast to confront the violent extremist organization Boko Haram after the rigorous training, stating that it was important to prepare the Nigerian troops for the threats they faced from the terrorists. Staff Sergeant Kevin Martins of the 10th Mountain Division, Fort Drum, New York, said they lectured the troops on the significance of maintaining noise discipline, combat readiness, and covert operations, among other relevant skills on how to face real threats. On the foreign scene, France's President Emmanuel Macron says he has proof that the Syrian government attacked the town of Douma with chemical weapons last weekend. He said he will decide in due course whether to respond with airstrikes, even as Western states are thought to be preparing for missile strikes in response to the alleged attack. In Russia, Syria's main military ally, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov, urged against any steps which could lead to an escalation of tensions, while the United States President Donald Trump, who said on Wednesday that missiles were coming, has now tweeted that he never said when, stating that it could be very soon or not soon at all. And in sports, the Super Eagles of Nigeria have moved up 5 spots from 52nd to 47th position on the latest FIFA World Ranking for April. The 3-time African champions also moved up to the 6th spot on the continent. And similarly, Tunisia moved up 9 places, displacing Senegal as Africa's best-ranked team. They now occupy the 14th spot in the world. They are closely trailed by Senegal on the 28th spot in the world. Meanwhile, Democratic Republic of Congo are placed 3rd in the continent and 38th in the world. Morocco come in 4th place and occupy the 42nd position on the world's ranking, while the Pharaohs of Egypt complete Africa's top 5 and ranked 46th in the world. And that's the AM News on Television Nigeria. But just before we go, let's remind you of the stories that made headlines. Nigeria assures international community of free, credible elections. Nigerian Senate in rowdy session over Buhari's remark on insecurity. Government makes clarifications on whereabouts of recovered loot. And U.S. Army trains Nigerian troops on confronting Boko Haram insurgents. And in sports, Nigeria moves up 5 spots on FIFA ranking. And just before we go, let's leave you with this. Leadership is not about the next election. It is about the next generation. Thanks for watching. My name is Nten Ekbam. Bye for now.